Well, we're down to 4 teams, and it's 4 chalk. Chalking all the way. It's 4 1 seeds. Duke, Florida, Houston, Auburn. All the 1 seeds for the second time in history. It is all chalk, and I think it's been a disappointing tournament. I think now, you better get a fantastic Final Four to save this tournament, and I don't even know if it can save it, because to me, it was not a very good tournament. It was not very exciting. The best part of the tournament is those first 4 days, and there just wasn't the buzzer beaters. There wasn't the Cinderellas. There wasn't, a 14 seed getting to the Sweet 16, or, a 13 seed up with 2 upsets, and there wasn't that buzzer beater from 3 from some kid from a no-name school. It just wasn't there. Now, you thought as we get down to, as we get to better seeds, higher seeds, reaching the later rounds like the Sweet 16 and the Elite 8, you'd get better games. Not so much the case. There have been a couple good games. There was 1 good game, real good game in the Elite 8. The other 3 were basically non-competitive. Tennessee couldn't score any points in the first half. They scored, they couldn't hit a shot to save their life against Auburn to start the game. And Duke blew out Alabama. That was non-competitive. The game was Florida and Texas Tech, and you got to feel sick for Texas Tech, and you got to also really applaud the coach of Florida and what he did and the strategy he implemented in the comeback. Texas Tech had a monumental comeback in the Sweet 16 to win, to get to the Elite 8. They came back. They were down 10. They fought their way back. They hit big shots, and they advanced. Now, they found themselves on the other end of that in the Elite 8, up 10 points, 3.5 minutes to go with a trip to the Final Four within their grasp. They had it. They had Florida beat. They couldn't hit their free throws, is what happened. They couldn't hit the free throws to save their life. They were 7 for 13. And here's what the Florida coach, Todd Golden, did. And it was brilliant. And you don't see it often enough. As far as I'm concerned, you don't see coaches do this enough. What he did was they were down 6 points. Well, I'm sorry. They were down 9 points, 2.5 minutes to go, 3 minutes to go. He started fouling. They had 7 fouls. He used the 1-and-1 to his benefit. He knew that they couldn't hit free throws. He knew that Texas Tech had 2 bad free throw shooters, like 50 and 60% on the floor, as 2 of their better players. So with 2.5 minutes to go, they hit a 3, cut it to 6. Inbound, he fouls one of the poor free throw shooters as soon as he gets the ball. That's the 8th team foul. He's going to shoot 1-on-1. And what does he do? He's a 62% free throw shooter. He's probably a 50% free throw shooter in that situation with that pressure. He clanks the first one, rebound to Florida. They come down and hit a 3. It's now a 3-point game. They inbound the ball. He does it again. He's got another 1-on-1 to play with. He gets the ball. As soon as the ball touches a bad free throw shooter's hand, fouled. Goes to the line again with the pressure on him. You could take whatever his percentage is and minus it probably by 8 or 10 percentage points. And what does the guy do? Misses the front end. Rebound. Florida comes down, hits another shot. They're tied, and that's it. They blow past Texas Tech because they couldn't hit free throws. Now, Texas Tech made other mistakes. They took a couple bad shots. They couldn't hit any of their shots. They turned it over. But using the 1-on-1 to your advantage is something that you don't see coaches do almost ever. And when you have bad free throw shooters on the floor for the other team, and they're some of their best players, and they're going to be on the floor with 2.5, 3 minutes left, and the coaches on the other team is not expecting you to foul, you could use those 1-on-1s to your advantage. Because if they miss the front end, which a lot of times they do, because the pressure is really on that first free throw. And if they're a bad free throw shooter, more likely than not, they're going to miss the front end. And you're also picking up time on the clock because they're not killing 30 seconds off the shot clock, which will kill it right off the game clock. So a brilliant move by Todd Golden. Florida, they were the better team. They didn't play well. They were on the ropes with 3 minutes to go. And he came up with this strategy, and I don't think enough people are talking about it. to be honest with you. I thought it was brilliant, and it worked to perfection. Now, it might not work every time, all right? There are sometimes the kid's going to hit the free throws, and, it is what it is. But they were already struggling with free throws. They finished the game 7 for 13. And Florida was lights out from the line. 25 of 27. That was the difference in the game. I mean, that's 18 points right there. That's an 18-point swing between the free throws of Florida and the free throws of Texas Tech. And it cost Texas Tech a trip to the Final Four. And they got tight. And I'm telling you, these are not pros. Those free throws are flips of a coin a lot of times in college. And when you got guys who are bad free throw shooters and you foul them and you put them on the line and put the pressure squarely on their shoulders with everybody watching and everything on them, all the lights on them, they miss it. And to me, brilliant. A brilliant strategy, and it worked to perfection. It got him 6 points, got him 2 points, 2 possessions, free possessions, probably spared a minute on the clock. Now, you need your guys to hit the threes, and he did. He had his big guy hit the threes back to back with the bad elbow and with everything. So it all had to fall into place, but it was set up with that strategy, and it was brilliant. And they came back, and Florida is now in the Final Four, and they will have an all SEC Final Four matchup against Auburn, who beat Michigan State. The game was not as close as the score will tell you, to be honest with you. That's the early game. It's going to be Florida and Auburn. 6:09 is the tip on Saturday. And listen, Michigan State fought hard. Auburn's a better team. You got Broome that went out. He got hurt. That was the moment for Auburn. Broome goes down, gets hurt. He goes out. He was dragging with that arm. It was kind of hanging even when he came back. Now they were talking, you had Ian and those guys on TV talking about Willis Reed, and listen, it wasn't that dramatic. It wasn't as dramatic, I don't think, as they made it out to be. But he did come back. He hit a big three right off the bat when he came back. And Michigan State they never could get over the hump. They could get it to within 6. They could get it to within 4. And then it would just, the lead would balloon back up. And Auburn hit their shots towards the end, going down the stretch. And Michigan State missed some shots. And listen, Auburn's a better team. So the better team did advance. So you got Florida and Auburn. That's the early game on Saturday, 6:09 in San Antonio at the Alamo Dome is the tip-off for the first game. The game after it, Duke, they were just too good. They overwhelmed Alabama. They beat them down. Cooper Flagg is a great player. There's a reason why he's going number 1 in the draft. There's a reason why all this hoopla around him, and his ankle seems to be fine. He's played fantastic in this tournament. And Duke is the favorite going into this thing to win the whole thing on Monday night. Will they win? Listen, it's 4-1 seeds. Houston is a good team. Houston can beat Duke. Duke's got to be careful. They don't want to go in. You don't want to go in there too confident against a team like Houston, who's long and they're big and they play good defense. And they just overwhelmed Tennessee. I mean, Tennessee came out and they couldn't hit a shot. They couldn't. They were 0 for, I think, 12 or 0 for 8 or something ridiculous to start the game. They scored 15 points in the first half. The game was over at half. I mean, it was a 20-point lead at halftime. They made a little bit of a run in the second half. They got it to 10 a couple times, but they couldn't overcome the shooting in the first half. I mean, they shot 21% from the field. The Volunteers did in the first half. That game was over. From the very beginning, the entire first half, it's like there was a cover on the rim of the basket that Tennessee was shooting at, because literally nothing went down. And Houston just had their way, and they just built the lead and built the lead and built the lead till it got to 20, and it was over. It was over at halftime. What are you going to do? But again, not many good games, right? I mean, this tournament it doesn't have I can't even point to a single moment where you go, this is the moment from this tournament. Usually you have one before you hit 7 o'clock on Thursday of the first weekend. Usually Thursday, 7, 8 o'clock, you're like, oh, we have had the 3 upsets, big upsets, 2 buzzer beaters, madness all over the place. No madness this year. Only one double-digit seed made it to the Sweet 16, which is absurd. The Elite 8, if you add up the seeds, had the highest number, the lowest number, I guess what it would be. If you add up all the seeds, it was the lowest number ever. And then we get to the Final Four, and I listen. I owe an apology to Jay Billis because I got all over him for picking the 4-1 seeds. I said, you're a clown because it's never going to happen. It's not fun. It's not nothing. You didn't pick. It's no fun to pick the 1 seeds and pick it chalk all the way through. Anybody could do that. They actually have a button on ESPN, favorites. If you would have clicked that button, you would have won your pool. My bracket's so bad that I had Michigan State winning the title in one of my 2 brackets. And it was going into yesterday. If Michigan State, I was the only one in the pool of like 30 people who had Michigan State as their champion. If Michigan State won the championship, I still could not have won the pool. That's how bad my bracket was. But I picked upsets because that's what happens. But clearly not this year. It was different this year. Now, let's see if we could get 2 classics. And it's going to take 2 classics on Saturday night to salvage this tournament. Because to me, it's just been a complete dud. There's been blowouts all over the place. A 13, 14-point average margin of victory in the Sweet 16. It hasn't been compelling. And this is usually the most compelling event that we see all year. In sports, it's 3 weekends. The body of it is those first 4 days. Thursday through Sunday. Basketball, wildness all over the place. Smoke clear Sunday night, 16 teams to stand. And you look at the list of 16 teams and you go, I can't believe it. Who are these teams? Not this year. This year it was 1 through 4 with a 10 thrown in there. And St. John's was the only 2 seed. Think about that. Out of the whole thing was chalk except for St. John's. Typical, right? Everybody else, all the 1 seeds, 2 seeds, they were all playing each other yesterday. And then St. John's was out for a whole week. Now, we got on paper 2 good matchups. Duke is the favorite. I think they can beat. Gun to my head, I picked Duke. But I think Houston can beat them. I think they're going to need a little help. They're going to need to play good defense. They're going to need to rebound the ball. Hope Duke misses, a couple shots. And if they can hit their shots, I think Houston has a chance. Florida, Auburn, listen, I don't know how Broom's elbow is going to be. I think he'll probably be okay. I think Florida's a better team. And I think it's probably going to be, I'm going to pick Florida and Houston because I'd like to see Houston. I'd like to see Duke get beat. But it could, if my life was on the line, I'd be betting probably Florida and Duke to play Monday night. But we'll see. We'll see if it materializes and we get 2 classics and we get an all-time Final Four, then it could salvage the tournament. But if we don't, this tournament was no good. It was a complete dud. To me, at least it was. Everyone says, you're going to get better games when you got the top seeds reaching these later rounds. You had Tennessee yesterday, couldn't hit a shot in the first half, scored 15 points. Duke won by 20. That's not good games. That's not good games at all. Michigan State, they lost by, under 10. They kept it under 10, but did you really ever think Michigan State had a chance to win that game when you watched it in the second half? You didn't, right? At least I didn't. I never thought Michigan State was coming back. Yeah, they'd get it to 6. They'd hit a couple shots, but then it would go balloon right back. So out of the 4 games in the Elite 8, 1. We got 1 good one. And it still wasn't like a, last second, but it was a good game. So, that does it. Saturday night, Florida, Auburn, 6:09, Duke and Houston to follow. 8:49 is what they say. Iron Eagle and then and the whole crew from CBS will be there. You know, you got Barkley, who doesn't watch a college basketball game until the tournament. Yeah, they're giving you his expert analysis. He's got Auburn. He's gonna be all over Auburn, obviously, because he's he's an alum. But we'll see. Listen, they need two good ones. They need two good ones in the worst way because it's not been a good tournament. I don't know what the TV ratings are. I haven't seen them. Can't imagine they're good. We'll see. Now you got two SEC schools and you got Duke in there. We'll see if the ratings get up here for Saturday night. But it'll be interesting. Should be two good games. I'm not counting on it. Not with the way this tournament's gone. But hopefully I'm wrong. And as I am always wrong when it comes to this tournament with everything. So expect two classics. Florida, Auburn, 609, Duke and Houston to follow. That's your Final Four. That is what's going on. I'll talk to you later, everybody. I'm Bob Walters from the Brian Gunzel Studios. See ya.